All right. Welcome to the Jake Blanchard podcast. Today, my guest is Julian Serrano. He's a firefighter with the Palm Beach County Fire and Rescue. This guy's a leader, man. And he's a guy who does things by example. That's what I love about him. That's why I'm asked him to come onto the show. He's passionate about mentorship, training, and fitness. He's an ultra marathon runner. He's a Florida smoke diver. He supports others, especially firefighters and first responders with around PTSD and suicide awareness. I'm also proud to call this man my modern day night project brother. Julian, welcome to the show, my man.
Thank you, man. That was a hell of an introduction. I appreciate you so much for having me.
Hey, of course, man. Hey, I love when I have people in my ecosystem of my life that just fire me up around getting better every single day. I love following you on social media. I love you're out there running, man. You're out there grinding. You're out there when you're prepping for your ultra marathons, those events, you're just like 30 miles in, whatever you're saying when you're running, but it gets me fired up, man. You've been training a lot lately?
Yeah, man, it's been a weird, so I just came off getting married. So the biggest moment of my life was in December. So we're transitioning into the new year. We got a lot of things going on, but we had scheduled on the block 200 milers this year. And one of the 100 milers just wasn't aligning with the goals, right? And the goal is we had a mishap in Leadville last year. And this year we're going all out to conquer that Leadville 100. So we're pivoting right now. And this is actually coming secondary from a decision that was made over a 7-hour race that I just did this past weekend, which is 38 miles. So right now, man, we're pivoting into a new training block of just training for Leadville. We're about 6 months out. So the Leadville 100.
Yeah, I know you had some difficulties in the kind of the back half of that Leadville race. What happened, my man?
Well, I'll tell you what happened, man. My mindset was not aligned with what I was physically doing. And if I can elaborate on that, basically, I was just clouded. I wasn't in the present moment of focusing on just running through the mountains, right? I was focused on a lot of other things going on as we humans usually do. And I wasn't present. And with that, I stumbled and rolled my foot. I could have simply said it was an accident, but it wasn't an accident because about 2 to 3 miles previous to that happening, I mentally could feel I wasn't locked in. I wasn't focused. And when it happened, I'm like, I wasn't surprised.
Yeah. Let's talk about that feeling real quick. What is that? Let's put your finger on that thing.
Yeah, it's we in this life we have, most of us. Let me not say that. There are certain individuals on this planet that want to do a lot. They want to do more. They want to be more, and we quickly forget that where you are right now is important because you worked to get here. Where you want to go is important, but where you're at right now was the progress that you made to get here.
You mean this moment, like right now, this moment, your attention being focused on right now, as opposed to being somewhere else mentally.
100%. Right now, I'm on the Jake Blanchard podcast.
That's what's up.
That's awesome. You know what I mean? But 5 years ago, I could never be here, right? Where I want to do so many things, other podcasts I want to be on, people I want to speak in front of. But right now, I'm glad and grateful to be in front of you, like to be talking with you. Like to me, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Where when I was in Leadville, I wasn't grateful to be in Leadville. I was thinking about other things that I wanted to get done, and Leadville was just a part of it. Essentially, is how I could put it. So, one of the things in my life that I'm pretty good at is I don't pass the blame and I don't leave things up to accidents, right? Like everything happens for a specific reason on this planet we live on. And I truly believe that I was not focused and intentionally ready for that race. And that led to my injury, which then led to a long time hobbling through the mountains and thinking about my life.
So, how many miles were you hobbling?
So I got injured about 7 miles in, and I made it to mile 40 before I didn't make the cutoff. So there's certain aid stations every 10 to 15 miles that you have to run through them at a certain time, or they pull you off the race course because it becomes unsafe. They can't have people on the back half of the course when 80 to 90% are already on the other side of the course, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, so
That's man, ultra marathons in general. Like, can you maybe take a second to just kind of explain it? Because like in preparing for this, I started looking at it, and it's a pretty wide swath of like mileage. It's kind of like it's like a catch-all container for anything over a marathon, or like help educate me and the listeners.
yeah, so the basic races are your 5K, which is 3.2 miles. You've got your 10K, which is 6.1. And then you've got your half, which is 13.1, half marathon. You got your full marathon, which is 26.2. And then you have an ultra is defined anything more than a marathon or 30 miles. So your first, if you sign up for an ultra, it'll be usually 31 miles and above.
Understood.
Then you have your they break it down into kilometers. You have your 60K, which is what I did this weekend, which was 38 miles. Then you have your 100K, which is 50 miles. And then you have your 100 miler that they say 100 miles. And then they got races now like Moab that's 200 plus miles. So they're pushing the limits for sure.
Yeah, that's there's a couple of like I know Leadville, I've heard Moab. Is there a couple others that are kind of the coveted, like really long, really tough from like
Yeah.
a
So
geography perspective?
any one, let's stop right there. Any one of them are tough.
Okay.
There's different ones that offer different things, right? So it's like different cars. They're all cars. They all get you from point A to point B, but different cars have different specs that are specific to that car. So Leadville, for example, Leadville is the highest race in the world for 100 miles altitude wise. You sit at 10,800 feet base and you climb up to, I think, 13,000 feet. So that's the only race where you're that high over 100 miles. Um,
That's like
Badwater,
2 miles. That's like 2 miles high.
no, it's high. I think it's higher than that. It
Because it's
might be two and a half.
5,000. Yeah, it's 5,280 feet a mile. So you're starting at 2 miles high, and
Right.
then going up from there. Holy smokes!
Yeah. So that's what gives Leadville its beauty, as I would like to say. Another coveted race is like Badwater, that's in the middle of California, in the desert, and it's one of the hottest races. So that race, you don't have to deal with elevation, but you have to deal with the heat. Where every race has its niche, and go into that. So
Yeah. So what did you run a lot of like 5Ks, 10Ks, halves before you did this, or do you just see like ultra marathons and you were like, I'm gonna do those now?
no, man. I'll go ahead and make it a long story short. I was at
No,
a
no,
bar.
take your time. I'd love to hear the process and how somebody fell in love with, a subculture like this, a physical
Yeah,
activity like this.
let's clear that up right now. There's nothing fun about running. The fulfillment comes from completing a run, right? But how this all started was I lost my best friend. One of my good friends to suicide. He was a fireman, and we went to his funeral, and me and his brother were talking, and we are like, "Hey, we got to do something about this." Fast forward a couple months, his brother created a foundation, a nonprofit, and I said, "Hey, buddy, I'm gonna help you raise money to get this thing off the ground. What are you gonna do? I don't know. I'll get back to you." Go out, drink a lot of alcohol,
Yeah,
and
that usually helps.
and get to the point where I'm like, I think I'm gonna run 100 miles. Now, mind you, I didn't really know this was a thing. I just knew it was far, and I was like, I'm gonna do it in a day. And we were talking, and we're like, I don't think you could sleep if you do it in a day. And I'm like, no, I'm not sleeping. I'm like, no, we're gonna go till it's done. I'm gonna do it in 24 hours without sleeping. All right, cool. So I did. COVID hit. We had a race planned. We pivoted. We did it on our own. When I say we, me and like 8 other of my closest firefighter friends supported me, and I fucking started at a location and just ran straight and till I hit 100 miles. So where I went mentally and spiritually in that 100 miles was a place that I haven't been back to yet, right? And the only way to do that is the constant battle of wanting to quit but not quitting, wanting to to stop, but not stopping, right? It's just like making money over time. It's the daily deposits, and it's the continuous decisions of, no, I'm not quitting now, right? It's going to come back. You'll probably go through a low. You already said no to that low, so you're going to make it through that low. All right, now you're on a high. All right, I feel better. I'm good. I'm running. An hour, 2 hours later, boom, you get hit again. Man, this is tough. We need to stop. No, I'm not stopping. All right, ride that low out. Here comes another high. Oh, I feel much better, man. Let's go. Got some food in me. And then here comes the low again. And it's just like so much of that back and forth over a long period of time that puts you in a spiritual and mental place that you really can't mirror anywhere else. And it's addicting, man. You find anybody that's run 100 miles. It's funny because before I ran that race, I ran a 50K, which is a 30 miler. And I called my coach. I'm like, hey, dude, I am broken. I don't know. I never said I'm not going to do it. I never said I can't. I said, I don't know how I'm going to fucking run 100 miles when I just ran 30 and I feel like this. And he said, all you have to do is not quit. It's that simple. He goes, two things are going to happen. Your body's going to break, or you're going to cross 100 miles. And sure as shit, man, that's what happened. So after that, I'm just chasing that feeling. This past weekend, I got a little taste of that feeling with this 38-mile run, and it's amazing, man. It's a beautiful thing. So
yeah, take me through that time that you've got to reflect. You brought it up once when you were talking about you had a lot of time to think when you were kind of hobbling through those 40 miles at Leadville, and then also, as I'm thinking about your pursuit and why you're out there, one, for accomplishment, two, to get to know yourself. It sounds a little bit better as well. Like, what are you thinking about while you're running, man? Like what lines are you taming with that chair and that whip, or like what's going on in your head?
Man, I gotta tell you, I got an extreme case of ADD and ADHD, which they're different. And that is like my best self-development is when I put myself in a strenuous, long activity, because I can't go anywhere. I'm by myself, and it's just me and like my mind. So I compare my mind to like an office in New York City that something bad just happened and there's like 30 people running around throwing folders. Like that's my brain. People are just throwing folders around. And when I get out into an environment like an ultra, I'm able to like sort through all the people running around and really align what I'm doing in life with what matters and all the mistakes that I've made and how can I improve from that and just become a better Julian overall. So that's, and my goal is to not get paid from this. This is solely to improve Julian. Like that's me. And it sucks. It hurts. My feet hurt. My hips hurt. Like I cramped up this past weekend. Like it was a lot of pain, but when I was done and I sat down, like, dude, that feeling, that the fulfillment, I got it when I got married.
Yeah.
And I've only had it a few times. And so that's another thing, man, is like, it's not always guaranteed. Like Leadville, I got hurt. That feeling was not guaranteed. Like I didn't make it to that feeling.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, kind of the why of why I do what I do. So,
it was, I had never run a marathon before, but there was Suckfest this year. So I decided to do Suckfest. And to be honest, I completely forgot to, pencil in actual running and training for it. So then I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to do, however long it is, like 27 miles or whatever we ended up doing. And then, there's a bunch of exercises in between. Those exercises saved me. Like I don't know. There was no way I was going to be running a marathon without training the way that the way that I did. But I found myself in those last like 5 or 6 miles having a deep appreciation for those who who run on a regular basis, because I'm like, that's where those muscles live. That's where. So like,
it's crazy you did it though, right?
Yeah, hell yeah.
So that's the crazy thing about the human body is like people will say, we're not supposed to run that far. Well, the problem is that we have been inducted in a society where movement is not our number one priority, right? If you go back before we had vehicles, airplanes, like your primary means of transport were your feet.
Yeah.
So you moved a lot. So to put yourself in a marathon was no big deal when you were walking, let's just say walking 30 to 50 miles a week.
Yeah.
Now you're lucky if people walk 2 to 5 miles a week. It's insane. The same goes for like the fuel. Like, oh well, um, people these days need so much fuel to train, hit the gym, run. Well, I'll tell you why. It's because these same humans have been indoctrinated in the society of eating 3 to 5 meals a day since they were little kids. So now, when you put exercise and you start burning calories, the human body is just like, I need food. When in all reality, you don't really need food. Like your body can do, the project puts it out there, your body can do so much with little to no nutrition or hydration.
Yeah.
Um,
And in
it's just
fact, you tap into this like this primal sense of like there's a sense of urgency, like a little switch that flicks. So your body, whatever little guy's living in your brain that is out of commission or out of work for a while, the second you don't eat for 24 hours, that guy wakes up. He's like,
right.
hey, listen, we got to start getting rid of some shit because we
Yeah.
haven't been eating for a bit.
Absolutely. Yeah. So just how, you weren't adapted to it, but you did it. And that's the beautiful thing about running is everybody can and should.
Yeah.
Well, let me not say everybody can. There's certain individuals that can't run. And for that, it's a travesty, but
Yeah.
they do the best they can with what they can. So
100%. So then, help me. I'd love to get to know you a little bit more as far as occupation wise and those types of things. I mean, we talked a little in the intro. You're in Florida. You're a firefighter, first responder. How'd you get into that? Like, what
man,
led you into that direction?
always wanted to be a firefighter. Ever since I was a little kid, my godfather and uncle are both firemen, and it's been my number one aspiration since I was a little kid to be a fireman.
Wow. And
Yeah,
then you're there, and you've been a fireman for how long now?
this is year 9.
You're 9. And you reflect back, and obviously you're still doing it, so you must love it.
Oh yeah, man, it's the best job in the world. I actually had a meeting this morning with some of the chiefs about a specific team that I'm on, and the first thing I started with was I'm grateful to wear this uniform, and I'm grateful for this department to give myself a kid the chance to be a firefighter because it's amazing. It's amazing. So
Yeah, absolutely, man. What is a smoke diver? What does that mean in the introduction? I had really no idea when I was introducing you.
the best way I could put it is in in the early 80s, the self-contained breathing apparatus, which is what the tank on our backs that we wear,
Yeah.
was introduced. And that was to protect us from the superheated gases and enable us to go deeper and further into fires to save people that were in a savable condition or location, but was unable to be accessed before the invention of basically a scuba tank on you. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So what they did was they created a class for this tank that made you extremely proficient and confident in this apparatus. That class would later be known as smoke divers, and it is hailed to be the hardest and toughest class a firefighter can take in his career. We have in the state of Florida currently, I think, 90 smoke divers out of 20,000 firefighters. It is truly the elite in preparation and in success of the program. It tests not only your physical but mental fortitude of putting you in a situation that is the hottest, most stressful, and most physically challenged you'll ever encounter, and seeing how you perform. Um, it's the best way I could put it, to be honest with you. So
Yeah, it's intense, man.
yeah,
My experience with friends of mine who are firefighters, etc., is like the occupation in general. is some sitting around. I know you're doing a lot of cleaning. I know that there's that part of it, preparation, always ready to go, or always ready to rock and roll. But there is some downtime associated with some of these firehouses, at least in the way that I've seen or interacted with them. Um, you don't seem like somebody who sits around too often, like when you've got that downtime. So
There's an array, like any profession, of examples of what the professional is doing in that profession. So take anybody. You could take a car salesman, you could take a doctor, you could take um, a nurse, and there's your like ER trauma nurse, there's your neurosurgeon, and then there's your like urgent care nurse. Then there's like your doctor that works at some little clinic. Like there's different levels to everything.
yeah,
I like to think myself as a firefighter that's always seeking to improve and be the best he can be at being a firefighter at work, right? So whatever that entails that day, whether it be training, whether it be educational, whether it be something with the crew, or it could be something as simple as familiarization with zones, buildings, new cars that are out. Whatever the case may be, there's always stuff to do. So there's really no downtime where I work, and we work in a busy area, so we run a good amount of calls. But there are those stations that are definitely slower, and like I said, there's definitely firefighters that hang out, and there's definitely firefighters that um, find things to do with the downtime. If
yeah.
that's the way to put it. Yeah.
What's a and I know you and I've obviously we've been around each other a handful of times in the last year or two. And I know we were having a conversation. I think last time you and I were together, we were talking about certain calls. Like sometimes like first responders would get called out to something that, man, you would just never imagine
Right.
somebody would call for. As you're spending some time on the Jake Blanchard podcast, like your your perspective on um, calls like that and how you support the public and the interaction with the public, because I know there's at least the media portrays a strained relationship between at least police and fire departments and things like that and communities. Like, how do you interact with all that? How do you interact with the public? How do you stay patient when you're getting called out for things that you don't necessarily think you should be there for in the first place?
Yeah, you know what, man? Ultimately, I'm there for them, no matter what they call for. Um, I'm there for them. So it's not my place or my job to say I shouldn't be here. This isn't an emergency, or I can't help you. Right. So a
Mm,
lot of the time, we help with everything that has to do with their life. Nothing that has to do with an emergency or a fire apparatus. So, and that's okay. Like, that's what I signed up for. I signed up to help in whatever way I can, whatever, if that's consolement, if that's giving them advice, if that's medical treatment, if that's their house is on fire. Like, the topics are endless, but my job is to help, right? And I think a lot of people, in whatever profession they're in, they lose focus of what their job is, and they kind of get an altered sense of what their meaning of what they're doing really is. Like, my meaning is to help. Maybe it's not in the way I want to help. That's not my choice. That's not my place to make that decision. So I just help the best I can and leave them better than I found them. Kind of like a creed that we live by. So
I love that, man. Hey, let's segue into the Modern Day Night Project. One, you're a proud graduate of the project. You're also you're there quite often as well. You provide medical support to the classes who are going through that as well. How'd you get involved in the Modern Day Night Project? And then maybe reflect a little bit more, man. You're an artifact. You've been there at least 6 or 7 classes, 6 or 7 classes in a row.
yeah, it's been a long time. Actually, November makes 2 years working as the Modern Day Night Project medic. So
Wow.
crazy. Yeah. Um, yeah, man. Unfortunately, when I went through the program, we had a problem, and an individual suffered a medical emergency, and I intervened. Right at that point, the guy who runs the program found it necessary to have somebody who's watching from a medical standpoint with the medical profession there from that point on.
Yeah.
So he gave me a call. This is Bedros Keuilian. He gave me a call and said, "Hey man, I can hire anybody I want, but I think it's only right that I hire somebody that's been through the program. What do you think about doing it?" And after some discussion, we came to an agreement, and it's honestly one of the best things in my life. Um, it's hard, man, because I'm away for a long time. I'm It's not even what happens during the project because you're tired. It's coming back. It's coming back. I don't really get time to reset. I don't work a 9 to 5. I usually roll right back into shift, roll right back into a 48-hour shift or doubles to pay back the time that I was away. So, but besides that point, what I get from the project is the fulfillment that I get from ultra running, right? It's the being surrounded by those men that are the epitome of what you should strive to be like. And each of them have their qualities that are amazing qualities. And, I just get to, learn from all of them, every 2-3 months. And it's honestly an opportunity that I don't even think I deserve it, bro, to be honest with you. So
How'd you hear about the project in the first place?
So I heard Ray Care on a podcast. And,
it wasn't the Jake Blanchard podcast, was it?
No. I did hear that episode. It was great. No, it was on a podcast after again. I think it was with Marcus Luttrell, and I gave Ray a follow. And I had just finished my 100-miler, and I saw Ray post something, and I'm like, that looks really fucking hard.
Yeah.
And I put in an interest, and then Aaron Alandrino gave me a call, and they got me, dude. They hook, line, and sinker got me. So
well, I tell you what, I mean, Aaron is, he's beautiful in the way that he just kind of lays it out. He lets you like evaluate your options as you're thinking about going into the project, and it's hard to say no. The way that he lays it out, and by the way, he's right. I mean, he gets right to the heart of the issue. Hey, you're looking at this for probably a reason, right? It's probably not the reason that you think, or it might be, but there's layers to this game. And do you really know yourself the way you think you know yourself? And do you have all the tools to improve and get the life that you want? And maybe this could be a great catalyst for that. And for me, that's all I need to hear.
The thing that makes the project so amazing is that there's a lot of things you can go improve yourself, self-development courses and this and a third. Most of them are created by a single person, and that person brings the value. One person. The project brings 5 people that are extremely valuable in so many facets, and it's unmatched, man. It's honestly it's unmatched. It is amazing.
I'm fired up, man. I'll be in Southern California next week for class 12. So I'm sure I'll be seeing you out there as well.
Oh, you are. You're junioring.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh,
this will be the.
Yeah. I fly in Sunday. Yeah. So
I do as well. Yeah. So and this podcast will probably either come out during the project or maybe the week after. So this is class 12 that'll kick off, I think, on the 22nd, something like that, 21st, 22nd. And it's crazy, man. It's crazy how fast it's growing. It's crazy how many people are in each class now, which was a far cry from what happened when I was class 01. And then I cadreed or junior instructed for class 2. And so 2 years later, get an opportunity to go back and see how things have changed and evolved and how the programs run. I'm so fired up for the opportunity.
Yeah, I think you haven't been back since with the medics though.
No, not at all.
So you'll see the difference in the medical part. We got it dialed in. So.
Oh, that's good, man. I can't wait to see that. God, man, I just did the project. Did it change or shift the mindset that you had about running? Did it influence in some way what you're doing now, or did it help you kind of reinforce your certainty in doing it? Like, have you thought about that or contemplated how the projects maybe impacted your running?
I don't think it's, I had a discussion with Chris Barth about this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Class 6.
Yeah, and we went and we climbed Mount. I said, "Hey, dude, I've always wanted to climb that mountain right there," which, mind you, it's a little farther than it looks. And he's like, "Fuck it, dude, let's do it." And it's like, oh, it's not bad, bro. It's like a 50-minute drive from BK Strength.
Yeah.
And on the way there, we're talking, and I'm like, the project doesn't change you, right? There's nothing on planet Earth that changes you. Like, you have to change yourself. No matter who you are or who you surround yourself with, no matter how big the power of proximity can be,
Yeah.
right? If you're literally sitting next to Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk, like, you're not just going to absorb what they have. Like, you have to see how they live their life. You have to understand the tools or rules that they live by, and then apply that to your life yourself. they can't apply how they live to you and it work. You have to do that. So the project gives you the tools and resources to live the best life you are supposed to live. If you don't apply those tools to life, then it's a waste of time and money, period.
Yeah.
But the project gives you the tools to succeed in any facet that you encounter across the planet. And I truly believe that. Now, the reason I believe that is, what happens when you're not surrounded by 5 men that run the project when you go back to your home life, like, no matter how much influence they gave you, like, you're back to just you and yourself. And if you don't apply what they taught you, then it was useless. And to me, the teachings that come from the project are what changes you if you apply them.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And I've been actually thinking about this a little bit lately, so I'm just going to riff off of this as well. In jujitsu, which is something I practice on a regular basis. My jujitsu instructor was trying to hammer it into my head. My late jujitsu instructor, who actually just passed over the weekend, Keith Owen. Heartbreaking situation. But one of the things that I cannot help think about with him is he kept trying to tell me it's so much easier, believe it or not, to move yourself than to move other people when you're talking about martial arts and grappling. What we end up doing, or when you're inexperienced at it, is like you feel like you have to push someone away. You feel like you have to move their arm. You have to use all your force in pushing into somebody. And the reality is that if you can move you create space. If you can just frame against yourself and find those little holes in order to get into a situation that's better for yourself, and it's slower, it's methodical, it can be thoughtful. It's not about energy exertion and force you put onto others. It has to start from inside. And so to your point, like as I look at it, it's like there's so many parallels in that. And what you're saying is like, you have to be able to build the tools internally. You can't just impose your will on life and be hollow inside. It's not going to happen. Eventually, you're going to run into the wall. Eventually, you're going to run into an obstacle that's just too big for someone who's unprepared to do the work and move you. And yeah, man, I can't support what you said enough about just finding ways to tool up, finding ways to just fill that box that you walk around with that has all the available options and the way that you solve problems, and the awareness of when you're struggling, or the awareness when you need to close a gap in some area in your life, and the grace to be able to just own your bullshit and fucking fix it. And so many people are not having honest conversations with themselves.
Yeah, I mean, you just said it, man. I was going to tell you, if you didn't say it, awareness is the biggest thing that you need to grow. Like, you have to be aware that you're an asshole. You have to be aware that you have no discipline. You have to be aware that you're not in control. Your surroundings are controlling your actions.
Yeah.
If you're not aware of that, then you're just going to keep living life like everything's okay. And nobody's life is the way they want it to be, for the most part. Like, there's things that are out of our control that we just haven't realized. I can control that and change it. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's just there's so much that goes into our lives, man. So many people. There's so many moving parts, but ultimately, all you can do is control yourself and work on being aware of everything else that's going on and where's your time being spent? Where are your priorities aligned to? Like I said, man, like I had to pivot. I wanted to run 200s this year. And right now I made the decision, just 100 miler all out. I got 6 months. I'm gonna put all my fucking effort into it. And
And that's going to be Leadville again.
yeah, and I'm okay with that, bro. Like I don't need to run a bunch of fucking races. I've got other things. I'm not just, and I had to get over this, Jake. I'm not just an ultra runner, right? Like as much as it fulfills me, like I have more to life than running. So I can't base my life like it's all I have to do. I'm not in that position yet, bro. I want to be like, and that's another thing. People need to realize you're not in the position to do what you want to do. You have to build to get there. Like you have to build yourself to be in a position where now Jake Blanchard can stop his day to do a podcast. I don't know your life in depth, but I could probably assume 10 to 15 years ago, you couldn't just pause your life to have a conversation and record it and upload it to YouTube.
Yeah.
Right?
3 years ago, I couldn't. Yeah, absolutely, man.
You had to build up to this. And now you can provide information and fucking inspiration for people across the world, which is amazing. I want to do that eventually. I can't do it right now, and that's okay. I'm aware of that, and I'll work to getting to where you're at. So
Yeah, I love talking about the work too, man. Let's dive in. Okay, I'm running fucking 100 miles. I'm putting everything that I have into it. That's diet, that's nutrition, that's sleep. That's like, take me through your regiment, man. Like how do you organize your days? How do you organize how do you keep the fire burning from now to 6 months from now?
you know what, man? It's a constant reminder. The human mind is easily overwhelmed. Easily. I can fucking throw a bunch of shit at you and you can just be like, well, that's a lot. I can't do this right now. So what you have to do is, and I do this every day, I have to do it. I have to break it down to the littlest tasks and just one thing at a time, man. Like if I have a power task day of 12 things to do, I just do one. All right, I finished that one. All right, what's next? And it's just like running, man. If you're running a big distance, you can't look at the whole 100 miles. Like you break it down to aid stations. When that gets hard, because it will, you break it down to quarter miles. When that gets hard, you break it down to actual landmarks. I'm going to walk to that tree and then I'm going to run as far as I can. All right, I'm walking again. All right, I'm going to walk to this next tree and then I'm going to run again. And just make that forward progress. It's hard. I'm not going to lie, man. It's hard. Momentum is tough to gain. But once you get it going, everything else kind of falls into place. So.
Yeah, I love when somebody is pursuing an endeavor that they put the pressure on themselves.
Right.
I think like sometimes like team sports allows us I'm part of a team, which means now I'm on for the ride. Like I don't make the schedules. I don't make the this. I don't make the that. I show up to the practice. I learn how to participate with this team. I have this like tribe or this community that I'm held accountable to because I agreed to being in this team. And I think from a team sports standpoint, it's, I don't want to say it's easier, but it is maybe in some ways to stay on track or stay accountable. I know with like my jujitsu, that's an individual sport. Of course, you need other people to practice it, but I find it pretty hard sometimes to like hold myself to how many times I'm going to train during the week. I found it hard sometimes when I don't have a competition schedule that I know I'm doing 2 or 3 competitions and here are the weight classes to really be serious about my diet and really be serious about my mobility and exercises that I'm doing outside the gym and my deep study work. How is it in running? Like do you have like a mantra that you do or like?
No, it's just like, it's like anything in life. You get what you put in, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to Leadville with the mission to finish in under 25 hours. So there's 2 different classes. The cutoff is 30 hours, right? So if you finish in 30 hours, you get a silver belt buckle that says Leadville 100. If you finish under 25 hours, you get a gold buckle that says Leadville 100. So finishing is amazing. I didn't finish last year, so I'm not going to talk down to anybody that finished. Finishing is amazing. It's a hell of a feat. It's one of the oldest 100-mile races on planet Earth. But I'm going in to finish sub 24. That takes a level of effort and consistency that is different than just finishing, right? And I talked to my dad today. I don't want to go through life just finishing shit. Like, that's not me. I'm not talking down on anybody that just finishes. That shit is awesome. It's great. But me, Julian, I'm here to make a fucking statement. Like, I'm here to fucking, I'm going to run it. I'm going to run it under 25 hours. Like, I'm going to make a fucking example. Like, I'm going to put my heart into it and I'm going to fucking do it and do it right. That's me. So that takes, I talked to my running coach today too. She's like, this is going to take a level of commitment that is a lot higher than just finishing. And I'm like, that's the point. I have to do that. That's how I'm going to do it. And, you have to distinguish how much effort you're putting into everything in life. And that's another thing why I pivoted from 2 races to 1 race. Is like, I can put my all into 1 race. I can't put my all into 2 races, a business, being a firefighter, being the medic for the MDK Night Project, doing this. You see what I'm saying? You get.
No, I know exactly what you're saying. And in business, a lot of times when you're raising prices, people would be like, well, it's going to cut your customer list in half. I don't care. I'm going to be able to service my customer with double the effort and intensity and level of love and all that stuff. That sounds like what you're doing is you're looking at it and you're going, I'm going to cut it in half, but I'm going to double my effort and preparation so I can do my absolute best on the thing I'm focused on.
Right. Absolutely. That's just it, bro. So from a standpoint of nutrition, sleep, training, man, I do the best I can. My schedule is so different. I work tomorrow, Thursday. I'm off Friday. I work Saturday. I'm in California for the project for a week. I come back. I work. So like, it's just, it's not a schedule that's for the faint heart for how I live my life.
Yeah.
And that's my life, man. It's how do you do it? I just do it. Like, I'm still navigating. I haven't perfected my sleep schedule. I haven't perfected my nutrition. I'm living my life, man. I'm enduring. I put a post up. Like, I'm grateful to endure my life and go through the process. So.
Yeah, man, it was cool. It was cool seeing a post the other day with Fuel Hunt with you on there as well, man. I always get fired up. I mean, obviously Fuel Hunt supports the show, but they support you as well, which is rad.
Those guys are awesome, humble dudes that also have the sole mission of just like leading and serving people. So.
Yeah. Hey, you got married recently.
Yeah.
Mr. Young Man, newlywed. I've been married 12 years. My wife and I just celebrated 18 years together. So I'm the old man here when it comes to that. But like, how's the married life, man? How's it all fitting into your ecosystem? Yeah, let's talk a little bit about being married, brother.
Yeah, man. I'm honest. So, for the most part, you probably get like, oh man, it's great, nothing's changed. Yeah, no, that's the biggest fucking lie. No,
sure.
In reality, to be honest, you are now a partnership that is welded together.
Yeah.
Right? Before, you guys were just like together, but you weren't welded. Like now, like you're welded, like concrete forever. So everything you do affects your partner. Everything you say affects your partner. Every way you act affects your partner. So it's not, your decisions aren't about you. It's about us. Yeah. The way you act isn't about you. It's about us. The way you think isn't about you. It's about us. So transitioning that mindset has been tough for me, bro, because I've always been the type, if I want to do something, I'm going to do it. I'll ask for forgiveness, not permission.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a tough line to ride a unicycle down in marriage, man. That's a tough one.
It's not right, is what it is. So I'm working towards that, man. But other than that, I have to say, I have a support system that is unmatched, dude. She is my rock star, and I would not. A buddy of mine the other day or told me, he didn't tell me, he asked me. He said, "Dude, could you imagine you marrying yourself?" And like I had an instant moment of anxiety
Yeah.
because, dude, I'm all over the place, and she loves me for me. So I'm grateful, dude. I'm super grateful, and it's amazing. So
Yeah. That was a thing my wife and I had to really work on for a long time too, which was we moved in together when we were 18.
okay,
And we went to through college together, and then we got married about a year after we graduated college. And so we were like, of course, we were dating and even engaged, but we acted like roommates. Like she would pay me back for stuff that was not like a date, because she did not want to feel like she owed me, and she didn't want me to feel resentful for her. So like she had a very demanding class schedule. I was paying, I was paying our rent. Sometimes we're, broke in a lot of ways too. So we're just trying to like figure out the whole life thing. But like we didn't want to be indebted at all. And then all of a sudden, we're getting ready to get married. We're merging bank accounts. And then we're actually starting to talk like finances and financial decisions. And I had this like overwhelming feeling that I was no longer in control. And I think that's my youth, a little bit with it, because I was 23 when I got married. And I think looking at it today, it was like, no, it's not about you no longer being in control. It's just there's another set of hands on the steering wheel too. And like, if you guys are going to drive together, you're going to have to communicate. And we're going right now. We both have to turn our arms. It's a completely different conversation. It's a completely different perspective that I am just within the last couple of years coming around to. So I commend you for that awareness that we were talking about earlier and
it's
understanding what it is.
it's hard but beautiful.
Yeah.
Any hard thing in life has a beauty to it. You just have to be aware to find it. So
Is she a runner too?
absolutely not. Absolutely not, dude. No, no. She, we did a 5K a couple years back, and it was probably one of the hardest things she's ever done.
Yeah.
And I was so proud of her. But no, no, she's not. She's
My wife has yet to run a 5K in her life.
really
Yeah, no, we talk about it all the time. It's one of the things that she's going to check off the list this year, because we met our goals for the year, and she added do a 5K. I like to run. I don't like to run anything more than 10K.
right.
Personally, my knees and my excuses start to come out, and I don't have the heart for those marathons and half marathons, to be completely honest, man.
You do though. You did it.
Yeah, hell yeah. Hell yeah. And I will do a legit, for sure, like just marathon at some point in my life. I'd like to do a couple halves. Anytime I feel like I'm getting complacent, maybe I'd like to push myself, like use it as a tool to say like, motherfucker, you're gonna go run. Um,
So, so the biggest thing, man, and a lot of people set themselves up for failure, is anybody can do it. What type of experience are you going to have from it? Are you going to be able to delve into that spiritual side,
yeah.
or are you going to be so out of shape that you're going to be miserable the entire time? So I ran it with two buddies that they had a completely different experience than I did. Right? I understood how to deal with the pain and how to deal with the mindset, and I found ways to cope with both of those things and spiritually grow. I can't say for sure that they did the same.
Yeah.
These are new waters that they were navigating. They never navigated before. And I've been there, man. It's a dark hole to get out of, but you got to enjoy the process, dude. You got to enjoy that pain, because it's just like you're alive, dude. Like that. That's the world. That's Earth showing you you're fucking alive. Your legs hurt, yeah. You're running 30 plus miles. Like that's normal. Like you're alive. And then the beautiful thing is like the next day you're sore. You don't feel that pain anymore. The day after that, you're less sore. I talked to both of them today. They're fine. So it's like, how bad was that pain? Like in all honesty.
Yeah.
Uh, and the quote, pain is temporary, and it is. It truly is. So
Where's we've talked a lot about your mindset. We've talked a lot about the way that you look at things. Like where are you still like really improving right now? Where's the point that you look at when you're doing the self-evaluation, you go, I'm insufficient in this area? And you're a transparent guy. I'd be curious. I mean, so you're somebody I admire and I look up to on a regular basis for the things that you're accomplishing and the way that you push and the way that you drive. But I know that you're blissfully dissatisfied. So what don't you like about you right now?
I'll be honest, man. Consistency. Consistency is the hardest fucking thing. Consistency and execution. So last year was a big year. I did a lot of shit, and I did a lot of shit okay.
Yeah.
I didn't do a lot of shit, and I was proudly able to say I did that like at an excellent level, right? I did it okay, good, right? Like, no, I want to be extraordinary, not just ordinary. I want to be extraordinary. I want to be excellent. Like, and the difference between good and excellent is your focus and consistency. So that's what I'm working at right now, man. And it's hard. It's super hard, um, especially when you realize you have to say no. You have to. It's like a plate of food, man. Like you want on that plate certain food types, but those food types aren't going to get you to where you need to go. So you need to be able to be aware to move shit off your plate and focus on what you need. What macronutrients do I need right now? And that's my life right now. What do I need in my life right now? What are my priorities right now that are important? And you have to fucking be aware to look at your life that way. And it's hard. It's hard.
Absolutely, my man. Hey, we are coming up on close to an hour here. First off, man, I want to thank you for coming on the show. Man, you got me fired up today. You got me fired up about exploring my relationship with running a little bit more, and really thinking about it as far as like, what do I truly want to get out of the experience? Because I think I kind of begrudge the fact I rarely embrace running for what it could be for me.
Right.
I rarely, there was one beautiful day I woke up. I was in Cascade, Idaho. I was at a friend's cabin. There's some beautiful trails on the lake. I woke up and I'm like, I'm running 6 miles today. Threw on my shoes, started pounding that trail. The sun's just shining through the trees and the leaves are still kind of on the ground. It was just a nice, like early summer day. You hear those birds, there's eagles flying over the lake and shit. Nobody's out. Nobody's out. It's just me, just my footsteps. I forgot music and all that. So it was just me listening to that was a good experience.
Right.
But I didn't have enough gravity to pull me back into it.
Yeah.
But there's some beauty in it, man.
No, there really is. Like I said, you have to understand how and what you're putting yourself into, because everything's different. Like you prepare a little better for the run, and Suckfest would have been a completely different experience.
Yeah. Well, it still would have sucked, but it might have been suck less fest.
Right.
But finishing up that thought though, man, you've got me thinking about my why a little bit more today. You've got me thinking about service. I love what you said about serving your community through your occupation as a first responder, and being there to help. And you don't get to always decide how someone needs help.
Right.
And what an important insight, not just from a first responder standpoint, for anybody who's interested in leading with gratitude in their life, that recognizes a need in others. And how many times have we elected to avoid service to others because of the nature of the service? And I'm going to be very very skeptical of myself moving forward on that as well. You've got a lot going on, brother. Anything else you want to share today before we part ways?
Nothing, dude. I just want to tell you I'm grateful for you, and I look forward to seeing you in 10 days. Not even. We're gonna have a good time. We'll do some things in California that are fun, that are exciting, that are painful. We'll be tired and we'll grow together, bro. And I'm excited.
Hell yeah, man. Hey, where's the easiest place for people to find you on social media? I promise to tag your social media there in the comment section of this podcast.
So the Julian Serrano is my primary page. And yeah, man, if anybody needs anything, they can always shoot me a DM. And I'm not only in service to my community at work, but anybody, anywhere, anytime, I'm there. So I feel like I was put on this earth to be a shepherd of sorts, and kind of just guide and look out for humans. So,
Well, brother, thanks for the motivation. Thanks for the leadership today. And looking forward to crossing paths here in a couple of days. My friend, we'll talk soon.
awesome, bro. Thank you.
Cheers.